and MSNBC is shaking things up, axing two of its most vocal anti-Trump anchors, Reid and Wagner, amid a ratings crisis that's rocked the network. Reports indicate MSNBC was already stumbling before the 2024 election, with prominent figures like Chuck Todd stepping down voluntarily and Mehdi Hasan getting the boot in earlier cuts. Moreover, Donald Trump's landslide victory in November 2024 sent MSNBC's viewership into a nosedive, prompting a sharp pivot from its far-left editorial stance toward a more centrist approach in a bid to retain some audience. Meanwhile, the network is banking on Jen Psaki and Rachel Maddow to turn things around. Psaki, the former Biden press secretary, stepping into a nightly primetime slot, and Maddow, the longtime star, returning to a 5-night schedule to cover Trump's early moves in his second term. Across the media landscape, CBS is tangled in its own mess, facing a lawsuit from Trump over an allegedly manipulated 60 Minutes interview with Kamala Harris, a development Trump supporters are hailing as a major win against a biased establishment. However, the past month has also seen a striking wave of black anchors, Reid, Don Lemon, and others, either fired or resigning, raising questions about broader shifts in liberal media. Interestingly, these sidelined voices are fueling a growing resistance against Trump and his ally, Elon Musk, migrating from Twitter to the rival platform, Blue Sky. If Trump approval ratings, already slipping just weeks into his term, continue to erode, this media upheaval could fundamentally alter the political discourse. Although MSNBC's troubles didn't start with the election, they've been simmering for months, eating away at the network's foundation. The coveted 25 to 54 demographic, a lifeline for advertising revenue, had been slipping away steadily, leaving MSNBC in a precarious spot. You see, Chuck Todd's resignation after years as a political analyst was a blow, signaling fatigue or frustration within the ranks, while Mehdi Hasan's exit after his incisive critiques of both Trump and establishment Democrats stirred outrage among progressive fans who saw him as a rare voice of clarity. For years, MSNBC had thrived as resistance TV during Trump's first term, with anchors like Rachel Maddow delivering nightly takedowns that drew massive audiences and cemented her as the network's $30 million a year face. And yet, when Trump left office in 2020 and Biden's presidency took over, that visceral energy faded, leaving the network programming feeling repetitive to some viewers. Again, the rise of streaming platforms like Netflix and YouTube, alongside the explosive growth of social media influencers, siphoned off audiences from traditional cable news, hitting MSNBC particularly hard. By the time the 2024 election rolled around, its decline was unmistakable, setting the stage for a brutal post-election reckoning. Moreover, Trump's resounding win, sweeping all 7 battleground states, delivered a gut punch to liberal media outlets like MSNBC. The network's primetime lineup, featuring Wagner, Chris Hayes, and Lawrence O'Donnell, saw viewership plummet by more than 50% in the days after Election Day, with even Maddow's once untouchable Monday slot taking a hit. However, this wasn't just a case of demoralized Democrats tuning out. It seemed audiences were exhausted from years of relentless anti-Trump rhetoric that had defined MSNBC's brand. Also, Comcast, the network's parent company, announced plans to spin off MSNBC into a separate entity, a move that fueled speculation about its financial stability and editorial future. In response, the network made a bold call. Reid's The Readout and Wagner's show were canceled, a clear signal that MSNBC was shedding some of its most strident, polarizing voices. You see, Reid had become a lightning rod, especially after comments blaming white women for Harris's loss in North Carolina, while Wagner's sharp delivery hadn't stemmed the ratings bleed. Meanwhile, Psaki brings a polished insider perspective from her White House days, and Maddow's return to a full week aims to leverage her star power to cover Trump's first 100 days. If this duo can strike a balance between credibility and progressive appeal, MSNBC might claw back some relevance without fully alienating its base. Interestingly, CBS is grappling with its own storm, locked in a legal battle with Trump over that 60 Minutes interview. Trump alleges the network edited Harris's responses to prop up her image during the campaign's final stretch, a charge CBS denies, but one that plays perfectly into his long-standing fake news narrative. And for Trump supporters, this lawsuit is a triumphant strike against a media elite they've despised since his 2016 run. More so, it underscores how Trump's re-election has reignited his war on the press, though the dynamics differ from his first term. Back then, his nightly clashes with CNN, MSNBC, and others drove record ratings as outrage fueled viewership. This time, his victory seems to sap liberal outlets' energy instead. Meanwhile, Fox News has surged, capturing over 60% of the cable news audience since the election, while MSNBC and CNN flounder. Although CBS's credibility hangs in the balance, the broader trend is clear. Trump's influence is tilting the media landscape in his favor. If these networks can't find a new footing, their relevance could erode further. Again, the recent exodus of black anchors adds a striking layer to this saga. In just the past month, Joy Reid, Don Lemon, formerly of CNN, and others have either been axed or walked away under murky circumstances following Tiffany Cross's abrupt 2022 departure from MSNBC. You see, this pattern has sparked debate. Is liberal media retreating from the diversity push that gained traction during the Trump and Biden years, or is it a calculated move to sideline voices deemed too provocative in a polarized climate? For instance, Reid's decade-long run made her a standout, but her cancellation stunned fans who valued her unapologetic take. Also, Lemon, a vocal Trump critic, even after his 2023 CNN exit, has stepped back from mainstream platforms, leaving a void. Inasmuch as these departures sting, they've fueled speculation about other anti-Trump shows. Take The View, ABC's daytime powerhouse. Its ratings have dipped, and conservative backlash against hosts like Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar has intensified since Trump's win. Interestingly, word among media watchers is that it and similar programs could face the same fate as Reid's show if audiences keep drifting. If this trend holds, the era of liberal resistance programming might be nearing its end. However, these sidelined anchors aren't fading into silence. A resistance is building against Trump and his powerful ally, Elon Musk, and it's taking root on Blue Sky, a Twitter rival gaining steam among disaffected liberals. And Reid and Lemon, once prolific on Twitter, have joined the migration, using Blue Sky to rally their followers against Trump's agenda. Moreover, Musk's vocal support for Trump, culminating in his appointment to lead a Department of Government Efficiency in the new administration, has turned him into a progressive punching bag, accelerating this shift. Although Blue Sky remains smaller than Musk's X, Twitter's rebranded name, it offers a haven free of corporate media constraints or Musk's algorithmic influence. You see, other ex-MSNBC and CNN personalities are following suit, hinting at a new digital battleground for political discourse. More so, this move reflects a broader backlash against Musk, whose 2022 Twitter takeover and rightward lurch have alienated the left. If Blue Sky gains enough momentum, it could erode Trump's dominance in online narrative, giving his critics a fresh platform to regroup. Also, Trump's own story throws a curveball into this upheaval. Despite his electoral triumph, his approval ratings are slipping barely a month into his second term, a stark contrast to the typical post-inauguration honeymoon. For instance, ambitious day one promises, mass deportations, sweeping tax cuts, dismantling federal agencies, have hit logistical and political snags, frustrating supporters who expected swift action. And his cabinet pick, packed with polarizing figures, have reignited debates about his leadership style, even drawing rare skepticism from Fox News, a longtime ally. Interestingly, this dip complicates the narrative of a media vanquished by Trump's return. His base still celebrates liberal outlets' woes, dismissing polls as fake news. The cracks are showing. Meanwhile, if this slide persists, networks like MSNBC and CBS might find an opening to regain traction by zeroing in on his misstep, assuming they can adapt their approach. Inasmuch as Trump remains a political force, his early stumbles suggest vulnerabilities that could shift the power balance. Again, this chaotic moment marks a turning point for broadcast media. MSNBC's pivot to Psaki and Maddow reflects a desperate bid to survive in a fragmented landscape where outrage no longer guarantees viewers. And CBS's legal quagmire with Trump could either bolster its credibility or cement its status as a conservative punching bag. Moreover, the loss of black anchors and the potential demise of shows like The View raise tough questions about liberal media's priorities, diversity versus pragmatism in a cutthroat market. For Trump supporters, this turmoil is a cultural victory, proof their champion is dismantling a biased elite. For his critic, although MSNBC might stabilize with its centrist tweak and CBS might weather its storm, Trump's own faltering start could upend everything. If these players can't adjust to this new reality, where old rules no longer apply, the future of political media is anyone's guess.